How to improve your LinkedIn profile. Most people know the importance of having a strong CV and a great cover letter when you're looking for a new job. But what about your LinkedIn? By now you probably know how important LinkedIn is as well, if not even more important than your CV and your cover letter for a lot of reasons. And yet it can be easy to neglect your LinkedIn profile just because for a lot of jobs it's not a must-have. However, your LinkedIn profile is actually one of the first places that employers and recruiters look once they have your CV and cover letter in hand. And the LinkedIn profile page can be the foundation for your personal branding. That's why it's really important not to neglect it. So let's dive in. In case you don't know me, I'm Dahlia. I help people land high-paid work that they love by branding them for the new economy. And I'm also a communications professional myself. I've been working about 12 years for international organizations like the UN and the European Commission. So let's get into it. What's the first thing you need to improve or think about improving on your LinkedIn? It's your photo. So this is one of those areas where people think, oh, it's just the picture, like who cares what image I put? Do I even need a picture? Who cares what I look like? This is about my experience and my professionalism. Well, your picture is actually a big part of how people remember you, right? Most people are visual. And so whatever image you have, that's the first thing the eye is drawn towards rather than all the bullet points of your experience. That's what they're going to remember. So you do want to pay attention and get the best photo possible. Now, if you can get a professional photo, that's obviously ideal. I'm not saying you should have one of those formal professional photos where you look way too uptight. Actually, the best professional photographers are the ones that are able to capture some of your personality in them. And so, I think it's actually worthwhile getting a really great photographer to take your picture. You can explain to them, this is my brand that I'm after. I did this recently, actually. I did a photo shoot for myself. Now, obviously, I have a YouTube channel and I have a business that I'm running. So you can, a lot of people think, oh, well, that makes sense for you. You're running a business. But actually, more and more everyday professionals are doing these kinds of photo shoots to help elevate their brand. And the thing is, because so many people are doing it, in a way, it puts other people behind, the people who don't do it. And if you look at the new generations, like in my generation, this makes me sound old, but in my generation, it sounds like it's a bit outdated. In my generation, people think that it's a bit silly to focus so much on visuals and, your profile picture, who cares? But the younger people are getting increasingly savvy about their image that they're putting out there. And, you can criticize all you want. Why are they so obsessed with the stuff they're posting on Instagram? But at the end of the day, they have these really high quality images and they're thinking about their brand. And when their brand is so elevated, it can make you look kind of outdated or just kind of lackluster, I would say, compared to them. So anyway, consider getting a professional photo. And if you don't have anyone to take it, at least get a friend to take it in really great lighting, capture your personality, wear something a bit professional looking, and just get a great photo. The other thing is, do make sure that the photo is recent. Don't use a picture from 30 years ago. And you also want to make sure your face takes up about 60% of the photo. Don't use a long distance shot and then try to zoom in. It'll look kind of pixelated and weird. And make sure that you're smiling, and not a fake smile, but you can see in your eyes if it's a real smile or not. Have a catchy, relevant, and optimized headline. After the photo, your headline is the first thing people are going to see. So you want to have a headline that catches people's attention. That's because if you don't do anything about it, then it will by default just be your most recent job title, which may or may not be the position that you want to be going for. So to optimize your headline, start by including the title that you're targeting. So if your dream job is not the one that you're currently in, don't put your current job title, because then you're going to keep getting more of the same. Put your target job, and then next you want to put the relevant keywords to your area. And sometimes a value statement can also help people to understand your unique differentiator. Make it interesting, but don't make it too weird. Like, the main thing is that people should understand what it is that you do, and don't try to set yourself apart so much that they just don't understand and you lose them and they get confused. After that, you want to think as well about your header image. A lot of people ignore this, but again, it's a massive piece of real estate. So it's not going to hurt you if you don't have a cover image, but because it's such a prominent part of your profile, it's kind of a missed opportunity if you don't put anything. So I'll put up a couple of examples here of images some of my clients have used that I think look really great. So there's this one here, which shows this idea of connecting people together. And this is another one which shows Marisol's mission of people and planet, because she works in environment and health. So think about what kind of image really showcases your mission, a value that's important to you, and how can you illustrate that with an image. Choose your endorsed skills carefully. Do you have endorsements for a bunch of run-of-the-mill skills that do nothing to actually help you stand out, like PowerPoint, Microsoft Office? If so, those kinds of skills that it's assumed everyone has are distracting. What you want is for your skills section to include keywords that make you more searchable and to reinforce the story that you're telling of who you are and what you can do. So click into that section and do this. Number one, delete any meaningless skills like the ones I just mentioned, and instead add skills that are really key for someone in your target role. Then reorder the list so that your most important skills are at the top. Now, I know a lot of people say endorsements don't really matter, but they are a missed opportunity if you don't get this section right. So it is worthwhile brushing up on that section. You also want to make sure you have a really strong LinkedIn summary, because your LinkedIn summary is what paints a picture, again, of your unique value proposition, what it is that makes you worthwhile getting in touch with compared to the other candidates, and it makes people actually read the rest of your profile. Now, the single biggest mistake I see on people's LinkedIn summaries, well, the number one biggest mistake is that they put nothing, so make sure you don't do that and actually fill it in. But the second biggest mistake is that I see walls of text. People will just add in a bunch of stuff that it might be wonderful, convincing text, but nobody's going to read it because there's just no spacing. And I know that LinkedIn doesn't give too many formatting options for this section, but what you want to do is just leave big spaces, and a great way to do it is to use bullet points. So you can put bullet points showcasing your most amazing achievements, and then at the very end, so you have your hook, something that is exciting about you that's going to get them to read the rest, then your bullet points, maybe 3 to 4 bullet points with your biggest achievements, and then a call to action at the end saying, get in touch with me for, or to discuss, whatever it is that you are amazing at. Make sure you've aligned your LinkedIn profile to your resume. So if someone is looking at your resume and then they click and they go to see your LinkedIn and you look like two completely different people, they're going to be confused. That's why you want to make sure that you compare your LinkedIn to your CV and ensure that they are compatible with one another. Sometimes I've had clients who are applying to very different positions. For example, I had one client, Pablo, who was a real estate agent. He had a great LinkedIn profile for real estate, but then he also wanted to get a communication job at the UN. So we ended up deciding to create a new LinkedIn profile for him that would just be for his UN communications work, because it would be too confusing if he used his real estate profile. Customize your URL. Your LinkedIn URL is your web address for your profile, and the default URL is actually automatically generated by LinkedIn, and it's just a bunch of numbers. But did you know that you're allowed to edit it and make it more relevant? Here's how you do it. You go to the right side of your profile, you'll see an option to edit your public LinkedIn URL, and use that option to create a new name for yourself. Use your real name. Again, like I said before, you don't want to have an email address that's like dandelionflowers89, and you don't want that to be your LinkedIn URL either, obviously. So use your name to make your unique LinkedIn URL, and then that's going to make it easier to link to your profile, and it'll make it easier also for you to remember your LinkedIn URL. Ask for recommendations. Recommendations are really a great value add that LinkedIn has, because obviously that doesn't exist on your CV. And you know when it comes to marketing, how important social proof is. That you're not just saying these great things about yourself, but you have other people to back it up. So that's where the recommendation section is so valuable. Get some people to write you recommendations. If you don't know where to start, or you feel like nobody's going to want to write me a recommendation, well, you can always start writing recommendations for other people, and then they're going to feel like, oh, I should do the same for them. So that's one way to do it. And of course, another way is just to go ahead and ask someone, say, hey, I was thinking about our time together, our work together, and I would really appreciate it if you would write me a recommendation, and happy to do the same for you. Don't be shy. That's what LinkedIn is all about, giving each other recommendations and interacting with one another, right? So there's no point in avoiding the interaction, because that's the value of LinkedIn. That's the value of networking. So I hope that these tips were helpful. Once you implement all of this, you are going to have an up-to-date, complete LinkedIn profile, which helps you get noticed by employers and by recruiters. So let me know below if you have any questions about that. And if you want to have more advice about how to brand yourself for the new economy, I have a free class which goes through all of the steps, including beyond LinkedIn, to be able to do that. I'll put the link below for you. And I hope that this was helpful. Make sure you've subscribed, because I have a lot more career advice coming. And let me know below what you plan to do with your new and upgraded LinkedIn profile. What is your target job at the moment? And I'll see you on the next video.